Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Spin It Reviews, and in a series of little videos between now and when I do my first 2015 reviews, I decided that in honor of both the new year and the fact that I just crossed 200 subscribers, like I said in a video yesterday or a couple days ago, I decided to do a Q&A. The first one, when I hit 100, I got like 4 questions and 3 of them were my friends. And I actually kind of thought about a lot of them, even though I did kind of do it in a one-take format, but that was mostly because I was rushing. This time around, I want to make it a bit more spontaneous, I guess. So, again, this is all kind of unscripted, and I actually made an effort to not see any of the comments before going into this. I'm next to my computer now, as you can see the setup's different. Okay, so, and I actually have my latest vinyl find here covering up the screen, as you can see. So I'm just gonna unveil these comments one at a time, and I'm just gonna try to answer them as I can. Obviously, there are gonna be little cuts here and there if I take like 5 seconds to think of something, but you know, for the most part, it's gonna be basically one take. So let's see the first question here, and it is from Rewind Reviews. Okay, he's been a good friend of mine over the last few weeks or so. Will everything be alright in the end? You know what, man? I gotta say, you know, as cool as you've been to me, I've had it up to here with your puns. I mean, sometimes I wish you would just go away, you know? My good buddy John, ARTV, on Beyond ARTV, because he's too embarrassed to comment on the original channel. Don't think I don't know what you're up to, man. Just not cool. Okay, what's your deepest and darkest secret? I actually like watching your channel. Do you even lift all day, air day, bro? Do you even 420? Does your new metal chin beard have any hidden powers? I'm sorry, I can't do a 3P with these amazing, clever answers. But I actually do call it the new metal chin beard. That's an inside joke that's no longer inside. So we don't have that hipster cred in that regard. Comment from someone I've actually never seen comment from before. Flower Sphinx X. Are you in school? Where do you live? Yeah, I'm actually... Well, I'm not going to tell you where I live, because, I mean, to 200 whole subscribers, I'm prime stalking material, you know. But in all seriousness, like I kind of said in one of my videos, probably the channel intro, I'm first year at a community college called Miracosta here in Southern California. I'm probably going to be majoring in music most likely, even though I'm not really looking for like any classical training or anything, but I don't know, it's just in a sort of a broad sense. I do want to get better as a musician, and I think this would be a good way to do that. I mean, I'm not sure, I'm saying a lot more than the question called for, but I mean, I'm probably just going to be doing community college. Maybe I'll transfer to a 4-year like UCSD or something, we'll see. And where do you live? I kind of revealed that in the other answer, but I live in northern San Diego County, Encinitas to be exact. It was probably pretty clear if you saw the top 10 San Diego bands video, where I talked about local scenes. And I guess one perk to living here, in addition to like the perks of living in San Diego in general, which I kind of talked about in my first review ever on this channel, the Switchfoot Fading West one, is that in here, and this pertains to my music taste especially, here in Encinitas is where the flagship store for Macbeth, the Tom DeLonge's clothing store is, which is pretty cool. I mean, I don't go there too often, but the fact that it's like a 5-minute drive from here is, I feel kind of privileged in that regard, you know. Okay, next is Jay Dies. I think I've seen a couple comments from him in the past. Who are your top 10 artists? Good lord, man. Okay, this is gonna need a cut here, so let me just think. Okay, so it changes all the time, but I guess a few that I wouldn't have a problem with calling my favorite artists would be Weezer, 21 Pilots, Switchfoot, Foo Fighters, even though I was kind of disappointed with their last album, as you saw in one of my lists earlier. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, or just anything Tom Petty does, really. Oh, and Cake, that's definitely another favorite band of mine. I really like Beck, and now I'm just kind of going into the general question, but yeah, it's kind of flip-flopping back and forth, sorry about that. And so, let's see here, Weezer, 21 Pilots, Tom Petty, Smithereens, Supertramp, Cake. Yeah, you know what, that's about as good as I can get, so hopefully that was around 10. This really is the kind of topic I would devote a whole video to, and I'm not even sure if I could do it for that, so I'm sorry, that's the best answer I can give. Oh, and yet another question, do you have a favorite metal artist or album, or like a top 10? See, the thing about metal is that it's kind of a genre that I feel like I should be a lot more well-versed in than I am. I think it's a problem like with a lot of subgenres or genres in general, where I just spread myself so thin that I really don't have time to really delve into all that much. And my metal listening especially is admittedly a bit surface level. But if we were gonna talk about like some metal artists that I really like, I mean, outside the obvious big four, you know, Metallica, some Megadeth, even though I haven't heard that many albums from them. Anthrax, like in terms of metal albums, I'd put Among the Living and Worship Music as a couple of my favorites. In terms of ones that sort of fuse styles a little more, Alice Cooper, even though he's more on the hard rock side, or Alice in Chains, who are generally bunched into the whole grunge thing, but as some people have said in retrospect, they are really more metal than anything else, and admittedly, grunge isn't really a genre into itself. It's more just kind of a different style of alternative rock they just kind of marketed. So I put Alice in Chains in that kind of field. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm going alphabetically in my iTunes here, just kind of refresh my memory. Avenged Sevenfold is another metal band I like. I know that the metal elitists will come out in droves if they see this video, saying, and I don't really get why people say that Avenged Sevenfold isn't metal. Okay, I get it, because they're popular in the mainstream, but it's like, and this might be a bit of a tangent, but it's kind of funny how for their first few albums, people complained that they didn't sound enough like the older stuff, or like more pure metal kind of style, and that they were like this scene fake version of metal. But then on their last album, Hail the King, which I'll admit isn't perfect, it did have a couple not so good songs on it, but they actually did go to that classic metal style, and then they called them a ripoff. Like, there's really no pleasing these people, honestly, and at this point, I just like Avenged Sevenfold. City of Evil is probably my favorite album from them, if you're curious. Black Sabbath is kind of a given. Early Def Leppard, for sure. Now, I know that people generally consider them, you know, like 80s hair metal in a way, and I'm actually going to talk about Def Leppard in an upcoming classic album review, spoiler about that. But their first couple albums, if you hear them, are really more in that sort of line of, like, new wave of British heavy metal, but just with kind of a poppier spin, and I really think they fuse those kind of sensibilities in a really interesting way. I really like the Ghost album from last year, Infectium. I still haven't listened to their first one, even though the whole satanic thing is still questionable to me, not just because I'm a Christian, but just like because I admittedly find a lot of those lyrics kind of cheesy. Oh, Iron Maiden, obviously, Number of the Beast, and I actually think The Final Frontier is a really great album. I don't think it gets nearly as much credit as it deserves. Of course, Mastodon. Like, if I had to pick a favorite, like, metal band that I'm following currently, it would probably be them. I still haven't listened to everything from their first couple albums, but Blood Mountain, The Hunter, Crack the Sky, Once More Around the Sun, especially Once More Around the Sun, which I put in my top 10 in that previous video, all great, great albums. Okay, I think I rambled on long enough about that. I guess I like more metal than expected, but I know it's still a bit surface level, so I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Oh, and Jay Dice left a bunch of other questions. I just clicked the See More button. Could you review Duck Stab by The Residents or do a live listen? I want to see your reaction. I've heard of The Residents, I'm pretty sure. I think they have like one classic album that some people talk about, and I've never heard of that album specifically. I've never really heard anything by them. I might reply to your comment saying what I think of it if I like listen to a couple songs from it. But you know, at this point, like there's like a whole basket of albums over here that I've been meaning to get around to, and I really gotta take my time. I really gotta be picky with my time, with my listening time before I really get into like the January reviews, as I guess high and mighty as that might be to say. Have you heard the Velvet Underground? If so, your opinion's obvious. I think that most people have heard of the Velvet Underground, safe to say, at least like in terms of, you know, big music fans. Obviously, they got a little boost of popularity after Lou Reed died, unfortunately. And I'm pretty sure I haven't heard any full albums from them, but obviously I know the big songs, you know, like I'm Waiting for the Man, Sweet Jane, you know, there's a few more from that first album that I'm having trouble remembering, and from the self-titled album. But yeah, I love what I've heard from them, and I'd love to listen to a full album from them at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it. There's one of a bunch of classic bands that's the case for. Do you like Death Grips? Hang on a second. Do you like Death Grips? Now, if you asked me this anytime over like 6 months to a year ago, then I would have told you absolutely not. I just don't get it. Like, it's just noise. And later on, like, at first, like, toward the end of 2013, I listened to Government Plates just because it was released for free. And I actually came away liking that. Ironically enough, I actually liked it more than Anthony Fantano. And I actually reviewed it before him when I was doing text reviews. But then I didn't really think much of it. Like, I just thought it was kind of cool, you know, industrial hip-hop kind of thing, even though MC Ride wasn't really doing much on it. But then, about 6 months later, I was seeing I was at a record store, just kind of looking for other stuff, and I came across the Money Store, and on a whim, just because all my friends are on the internet that are way cooler than me are absolutely in love with them, I got this, and it's great. Like, I wouldn't call it 10, like Fantano, you know, but it's still, and I can't say that I'm in love with every single song, but I get it now. Got it now. I'm sorry. There are so many better Death Grips song name jokes to do. I guess you could say that when it comes to my opinion of Death Grips, it goes up. We're done here. Coke or Pepsi? Both. I'm not a soda elitist. Mexican food or Italian food? I live in Southern California. Mexican is kind of like the genetic answer. Chinese food or Japanese food? Okay, now you're killing me. There are like 5 sushi bars. I realized that today. There are like 5 sushi bars in Encinitas alone. It's crazy. Like, on almost every block, really. I'd probably go with Japanese because I've been having sushi all my life, but you know, it's stiff competition, you know, it's neck and neck. Really, any Asian food, seafood, you know, kind of stuff I really like. Okay, Riley Rowe, good friend of mine who actually writes for Alternative Nation, good news site there for like more grunge-leaning bands. When's the new album coming out? I think maybe he's referring to my own, when it comes to my own stuff, because I put out an EP in July, in case you didn't see my update video about that, in case you don't know about that EP I put out, called Miracle Drought. I'll link all the info about that in the description. Really, I don't know where my, like, in terms of, like, original music is going now, just because I have so many musical ideas, but lyrics, like, I'm so slow when it comes to lyrics. Like, if I had everything in place for every song I'm proud of that I've written musically, I'd have a double album out now. I'm dead serious. Like, at this point, like, I'm actually in the process of, like, writing a Craigslist ad to try to find, like, a singer and lyricist locally. So, I don't know where my original music is going. I really want to move forward with that, but yeah, that's kind of where it is at the moment, just in this weird stagnant place. The best and worst festival lineup you can imagine. You know, I guess for the best you could just picture, like, everything I said in the favorite artist thing, I guess, even though some of them would fit on better than others. Worst festival lineup. Okay. Blood on the Dance Floor, Broken Side, and Front Porch Step, and a Michael Jackson hologram, if you can call it the Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife tour. Wow, there were like 5 separate dated jokes in there. I'm reaching new lows when it comes to this stuff. Man, this channel is going downhill fast. What's your ideal music to make sweet, sweet love to? Death Grips. Oh, Dylan Stock asks, when's your next EP coming out? Is it even ready? I already answered that. By the way, he's actually been trying to like be a big fan of the EP, which is really cool. So yeah, thanks for the support in that regard, man. And yeah, like I said, just see everything I said like 2 minutes ago. I will say though that I am working on a potential covers EP that might be coming out during the first part of this year. Like, nothing's recorded, but I'm just putting together like songs I think I could cover in an interesting style. I won't reveal any song names now, but yeah, it's in the beginning stages. Do you listen to Frank Zappa? Can you review Tony O'K's Life in the Food Chain? I don't listen to Frank Zappa, like Velvet Underground. It's another one of those classic artists that I haven't really delved into as much as I'd like to. I haven't listened to one album of his, not Heartbreakers. One Size Fits All, that's it, because I actually borrowed the LP from like this older guy I know from a music store. Yeah, it sounded good. I only heard it once through, but it was pretty good. Tony O'K, Life in the Food Chain. I'm sure that I'm guessing it's not an album that came out this year, safe to say. I would only really do classic reviews of like I'm weird about requests because like there's just so much that I personally want to listen to as a music fan that there's just not really any room I can make for requests, as like self-absorbed as that might sound. Sorry. Kilano asks, do you think Rob Crow is the greatest San Diego artist ever? He's from Pinback, Heavy Vegetable, and Optigonally Yours. I haven't heard of those last two bands, but I've heard of Pinback. Still haven't really gotten into them, so I can't really have an opinion. Jeff Emerson asks, will you run the Jewels? Will you run Backwards to a Field of Dicks? What are your top 5 least favorite Weezer songs? You know, like I said, I like all their albums, but their discography is not perfect. I'm just gonna look through their discography here and pick out some that I'm just not a fan of. Especially 5. I'm glad you said 5 and not 10, because that would have been torture. A lot of them probably come from Make Believe and Ratitude and Hurley. Like, those are the 3 where there are songs specifically that I just don't like. Like, from Make Believe, I would say Hold Me and Peace, which are both just really corny to me. And a lot of people hate Weird Al on Drugs. I don't mind it, so I wouldn't really include that. Ratitude, Can't Stop Partying. That's the worst Weezer song, like, on an objective level. That being said, one thing, if you guys take anything away from this Q&A, go look up Can't Stop Partying Coconut Teaser Mix. It's what this song should have, basically, it's what the album version of the song should have been. It doesn't feature Lil Wayne for one. It actually has a really cool bridge. The guitars actually, the production overall just sounds a lot more Weezery, and the overall feel of it just has a lot more of an ironic, almost like satirical feel to it. Like, it's almost like someone trapped in the partying lifestyle and they're trying to convince themselves to get out of it. Obviously, it's probably not that deep, but I don't know, there's just a little more to it in that version. It's a lot more enjoyable in that regard. In the Mall, something, again, In the Mall is something that a lot of people hate and I don't mind. Oh, and Hurley also has some pretty bad ones. Smart Girls, Where's My Sex? Okay, so let's see here. So that's Hold On, Peace, Can't Stop Partying, Where's My Sex, and Smart Girls. There we go, top 5. That was easy. What'll it take for you to just give up on a critic or reviewer? Okay, for a second I almost read that as well, take for you to give up on being a critic or reviewer. Really, I guess what it would take for me to give up on a critic or reviewer would be, like, if it seems like they're just reviewing for the sake of reviewing, because I'm not going to name names, but I feel like there's some people that, like, just review too much, you know? Like, they just review so much that they end up saying a lot of the same stuff, and it almost feels like Mad Libs at times with, like, the terminology they use, just different names here and there. And if it seems like they're just not interested anymore, then there's really no point in watching. But fortunately, when it comes to people on YouTube, I generally subscribe to people that are worth being subscribed to for like a few years, which is great. You know, obviously the Needle Drop, ARTV, Spectrum Pulse, all those. And yeah, it seems like even though I've been watching them for all of them at least a year, in case of Fantano, like coming up on 4, yeah, they're still pumping out quality reviews, even for stuff that I've never even heard of, which is definitely a good sign. And Kilano asked the last question here: what is your favorite music venue in San Diego, and what's the best concert you ever went to? Favorite music venue, there are a few smaller places like Soma, House of Blues is kind of a given. There's a couple in UCSD that are really good. The Loft is one that I've been going to a few more times lately. That's where I saw James Bay and the Frights, and later on interviewed them. And Shea Cafe is another really good one. There's been some talk lately that's going to close. Like, apparently they're in some legal disputes with UCSD, which kind of sucks. I don't really know all the details, so I can't really say I have a side in it. But, I mean, I hope they stick around, obviously, because I've seen some great shows there, like The World's a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die, for example. What's the best concert you ever went to? Let me show you here. You've seen it in the background of all my videos. Muse. At the Value Casino Center, January 2013. That show was mind-blowing for the Second Law tour. Just like, I'm usually the kind of guy that likes just being close to the band and like more intimate, kind of like in that kind of regard, and just like standing with a bunch of other people. But when you can do an amphitheater show as well as Muse, then all that preference is blown out of the water, and it's the one concert where I've left literally, and I mean literally, speechless. Like, my mind just stopped working when it comes to everything except getting out of the venue. It was so elaborate and just insane. You know, I just remembered, I actually did a concert review of this Muse one on my personal channel, which is kind of linked in the related channels on this. I did like a 3-part thing of it. It wasn't cut or anything. It was from like basically right after I got back from there. That I do recommend checking out, even though you can tell it's more from the earlier days of my content, and I hadn't made a video in like a year. Okay, so thanks guys. There's definitely a lot more quality questions in here than I was expecting. Not really like, or should I say more quantity than I was expecting. There was like a good dozen questions here, and I was able to do something with a good majority of them. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. There should be a couple classic reviews coming up. I'm not sure how I'm going to do them. Maybe it'll be a couple in one video. I already said all this stuff in the best albums video. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you on the next episode of Spin Reviews. Oh, and I almost forgot, something I did want to talk about in this video, which I did want to talk about in this video just in case someone did ask it, but no one really did, is what my New Year's resolutions are for this channel for 2015. And really, one thing, I feel like this is sort of a continuation of what I said in the How to Be a Music Vlogger video, the Rocket Out blog response, but really what I want to do is find my own distinctive voice for this channel, because as proud as I am of a lot of my videos, whenever they go up, or like when I see the end product, I can't help but think, oh, this is exactly how a Spectrum Pulse review would go, or this is exactly how an ARTV review would go, or maybe on a couple occasions this is how a Needle Drop review would go, or like in the case of like doing reviews from someone else, this is how a Velocity's music review would go, even though they haven't put out anything in months. But really, I just want to find my own nook, or like my own space within the YouTube music reviewer community. I feel like I still haven't found it. And I'm not sure if you can tell, like, the fact that I've been doing more jokes. I've been putting in a lot more humor in the last few videos, and I really think that that's where things could come in, because I've been thinking, one thing I've thought for a long time but never really done anything about is that I feel like music reviewing on YouTube could use like a Jeremy Johns type, you know, where it's like very, I mean, not like a direct copy, but like a little more quick-witted, a little more straight to the point. And I feel like, I don't know, even though movies have more of a comedy potential to go off of the music, unless you're talking about Weird Al or something, then I really wish that I could make my videos a bit more compact, like maybe put out more that are like under 5 minutes, get more straight to the point, maybe have some more humor here and there, because I do have sort of a dry sense of humor that I like to use at times, sort of ironic, sort of self-deprecating, that I would really like, that I do really like to incorporate into my reviews whenever it's appropriate. So that's really my goals for 2015. Just kind of, I feel like this is a good video to kind of put that kind of statement in. Okay, bye.